welcome to another Monday Night Football, another week of Liga MX, of doble jornada, and the gang's here to talk about everything Club León in English, talking about the game, another victory Monday, and Angel del Gol appeared, and we'll definitely get more in what happened during that Friday night game versus Necaxa. So stay tuned, guys, because we'll be joined by Luis from Group Tigres in English to help us preview a Wednesday game, which is very early. But hey, we're gonna have lots of football this week. So episode 44, an angel appearance is the title of the show. If you guys are heard La Porra, open your camera and scan the QR code to follow Los de Arriba for more of their content. Follow us on Twitter. Scan the Lions Den podcast, and our official Twitter will pop up. We are streaming from both YouTube and Periscope. So hello, everybody who is watching us via both streams. Carlos, Louis, Javier, and Jose, how are we feeling tonight?
Better, victorious, happy,
solid.
More confident. Frío, because estamos en la cima.
Yes, that's true.
And also because the León has been raining.
In better moods today than I feel like last week.
Yeah,
much better.
Definitely.
I agree.
Well, let's go ahead and dig into what happened Friday night against Necaxa. We're going to cue the clip so Carlos can tell us the club team news and also the lineup. So let's go.
All right, so last week we had two headlines. Friday night, Andres Mosquera was sitting out again due to the foreigner rule. But there is a rumor that went around Twitter that said he had some back complications, but still waiting confirmation on that, official confirmation at least. And then the big news was that there were no COVID cases reported last week, which means that we had a full squad going into Aguascalientes. Definitely good news. Probably best team news we've had this season, in my opinion. And for the starting lineup, we had basically repeated the lineup from the previous game. Jairo Moreno, William Tecillo, Steven Barreiro, Fernando Navarro, and Cota in the back. In the midfield, we had Luis Montes, Pedro Aquino, Angel Mena, and Jan Meneses. And then up front, we had Gigliotti and Sosa. Like we said last week, Louis, ideal lineup, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it looks like he's going to stick with that. If the repeated lineup was any indication, it looks like that's going to be the one, the lineup moving forward. I should hope so, anyway.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if there were any changes on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, he made. Jefecito was available and convocado, but did not regain his place in the starting lineup. Now, Ambriz has sometimes extended the one-match ban that a red card gives just out of additional punishment, but I don't know. I think if I were him, I would just stick with Aquino. Aquino's just holding down the fort really, really well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. 'Cause I know last week, we were talking about, Aquino and how I think we lost Javier. And how, obviously Jefecito being out because of his red card in the prior game. I could give Aquino the opportunity. We see him now repeat again. I guess, like Louis said, are we content with Aquino? Do you guys believe Aquino will start and Ambriz will repetir con Aquino this next upcoming game?
Yeah, I think Jefecito got too comfortable. He got too comfortable, and that's probably part of his. I don't know if it's complacency or whatever you want to attribute to his reduced his bajon, his downturn in form. But for Aquino to come in and play well, I mean, this internal competition, it seemed like the spot was just, for whatever reason, was just his. and I don't think that was good for him. Like a young player like him, a player who still has room to grow. So in that sense, and in the sense that Aquino's just been playing, it's just I don't know. I think for my money, a better player has been playing, came in and played much better from the outset. Hopefully that inspires Jefecito to get back to the form that we've seen from, that we know that he's capable of, it we've seen from him. But for now, I think Aquino's got to be the choice.
I agree. Aquino has to be the choice. He's been playing in top form since last season. We don't even know the real reason why he was taken out of the starting lineup to begin with. I think he had like some discomfort in one of his legs or something, which kept him out of the preseason, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, it was Ivan Rodriguez who got the call up. But other than that, I think he's been playing top football since last season. So it's good to see him.
It could be something as simple as foreigner flexibility. You know, we have depth. We have depth in the contención, and so like he's a player you can conceivably sit out for being a foreigner, you know, and having room for another foreigner in his place, and not lose much with Jefecito. At one point, that might have been true, but right now, I mean, I think you really got to have Aquino in there, COC. You know,
yeah, we know what he can do. We know his quality, and he's playing up to it.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's definitely going to start next game because, I mean, I'm going to bring this up. It's not my stat, but it's the Liga MX stat. Aquino and Montes were, I believe, this week. If I remember, Montes kept his momentum going from last week, and he's the top player with the most passes completed, I think, for like this week 8. And then I believe Aquino was the player that had the most interceptions, I believe it was. But like right now, when I'll show you, and I also between those two players, I think they also did have the most passes. I believe they're somewhere in the stat for the week 8. So yeah, it shows just how solid they are right now between each other. So yeah, I would definitely not tinker with that kind of partnership.
Javier. Can you hear us?
I don't think he can hear you.
Okay. Well, while Javier fixes his audio, guys, an angel appeared, and
yeah, I can hear everyone. I just can't hear Kari.
Oh, okay.
I can hear Louis. I can hear Carlos there laughing.
Oh, okay.
We just let him know.
Yeah, we just wanted to get your thoughts on the starting lineup and Pedro Aquino starting.
Nah, there wasn't a surprise. Like I kind of figured he was gonna start. Other than that, I think everything from the lineup to me made sense. Even the subs, like always, Campbell, second half, Jefecito, which is interesting. He played, even though I thought maybe, I don't know, le iba a castigar un poco más, no? La regla de Nacho Ambriz. But yeah, other than that, yeah, no surprise.
They got rid of that regla, right?
I hope, and I hope it never happens again.
I don't know. I think if there's ever a season not to have that rule, it's this one where depth is so important. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he got rid of it because we had the Champions League at the same time, so it's kind of like, well, I don't think he could afford, right, to just
right. Well, in any event, there's no need to autocastigarse. You know, like.
Like I get the discipline, but I feel like when it's a need, then it's kind of like, okay, you have to, you just have to waive that for this game at least.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, for a second yellow, like a straight red, if it's a particularly vicious, and you want to send a message like that, we don't tolerate that in this squad or something. But like a red that for a second yellow, that was a pretty basic challenge for a contención. I think no need to sit him out 2 games. That's pretty ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, an angel appeared, and just when Mena took the first penalty, I was just like, oh no. But lucky enough, we got Mena to take it again. He got the second opportunity. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm always thinking about this theory of a player taking like the same player taking 2 penalties in a row. Like I'm kind of like, it's like, to me, it's like a 50-50 if they're going to make it or not. So whenever the second penalty came, I'm just like, oh, and we saw how Gigliotti was like kind of ready to take it, and Mena went up there.
I was sure he was going to let
surprised
Gigliotti take it. I was sure he was going to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they cut away, and then the screen goes back, and all of a sudden, Mena's in a shooting position. I was telling the people, I've been watching most of the games by myself, but I was watching with a few other people this time, and I told them after the first penalty, they asked me, so you have the same penalty taker every time? How does that work? I always wondered how that worked in teams. And I'm like, well, if he gets another chance, I think he'll let someone else take it. And then he didn't.
Yeah, I think he thought about it, but then he was like, I'll take it.
No, I mean we've seen Boselli take multiple PKs in the same game like plenty of times especially when he was going to try to break the record before he left.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not unheard of, but yeah, I think it's kind of like you're kind of playing with karma a little bit when you already made one and you go up there. You're like, those are the kind of the things that seep into the mental game. That's why they usually let someone else do it.
Yeah, and it would have been worse for him had he missed twice. So it would have like shattered his confidence.
Yeah, I get it. This is a guy who's desperate to see the ball go in and get his confidence back. So I get it. I get that in this circumstance, he's like, no, I am the designated PK taker, and I'm just gonna go up and do it. I really, really need this more than anyone else does, and I guess I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
I could also see Nacho Ambriz being like, hey, let Mena take the penalty kicks, because I do believe maybe he's that kind of coach that understands that if there is a player that needs his confidence to be boosted up, it's Mena. And I think it was great that because I think in the second one, I think Sosa it looked like he went up like, hey man, can I take the penalty? But it was pretty much like, nah. Mena taking the both penalties to me is very important, because we do need him to be at his best, and I think mentally over any kind of aspect he needs to be at his best, especially this next game against Tigres, which is a game which everybody has to, that's why I hope Sosa scores, or like Campbell, one of those two, because they're like the last two players that I'm kind of worried about, because I feel like I don't know. Especially Sosa, he's a player that really needs to score before los comentarios of, like, I keep hearing, es mejor en el videojuego que in real life. I've been hearing them already, like on ESPN or whatnot, and that's kind
of. And I'm sure that's going
to
his head. I'm sure that is going to his head. How can it not be?
Yeah. So I would like him to score.
And I think like Louis,
he has a lot of pressure
when he's saying about how the call-ups kind of maybe mentally, with the players have won, and then they're just so in a different mental state. So I think like what Javier was saying about him being Niquile and videojuego and all that, I think that kind of was just I didn't really say much, because first of all, I kind of didn't really watch it, and second of all, it was just like, oh, like the pressure that's gonna come up. But I mean, even he said it, and whenever his transfer was, he was not like, he did score goals, but it wasn't his kind of like main kind of strength. Like he could play kind of like for someone else, like give them passes, kind of like he wasn't just like the 9. So I don't think we should expect him as a 9, and I think he is trying his best, and especially from this game. But I mean, Gigliotti, on the other hand, he bust his butt out there, and I just can't, like, I'm just like, he is doing what he can at his best, and I just give him claps and praises, putting 110% in every single game that he starts.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, people were talking about Nico when he was in the thick of the E-Liga. Even since then, this guy's done nothing. We don't know anything about this guy. He's done nothing for the team on the actual pitch. And so the longer he goes playing games, being a titular indiscutible, I guess, now, the longer he goes without I think you're right. He doesn't need to. He's not finishing is not necessarily what he's brought in there to do. I think he's brought in there to wreak havoc in the area, but he's up front and he's always there. I mean, he's there around all these plays that aren't being finished. And people start to question. So I think he needs that one, or maybe he needs a couple of goals in the next few matches for himself, more than for himself, to get that confidence back that he can just go out there and do what he's there to do without people questioning him all the time, and also for people to stop questioning him at least a little bit. You know, I think he really needs that.
See, I don't expect Nico to be a goleador, like how he said it. He's not a goleador, but I do expect him to have some goals. Like for me, like and I've been hearing it on social media, like that Nico Sosa reminds them of Britos. So Britos like wasn't a goleador. He scored goals, but not that many. It was more of what, like, scoring wasn't like what we love about him. Like, and I think it's the same kind of thing with Nico. Like, there's things that he does that you don't see when he scores, but it's also nice to see him at least score some. You know, like just to kind of like like how Louis is saying, like just kind of like shuts like some out. So like, hey, it's not like I'm not scoring. I'm not scoring that many, but I'm scoring. And that way he can, you know, deter his haters, if you will.
Yeah, especially for a guy who hasn't had a full season to endear himself to the fans. Like this is his first full season. This is his first real opportunity. So, like, you know, Britos had a track record after a while. Britos had been there for a long time. Britos had a lot of opportunity to for the fans to see what he's really capable of contributing. And you're absolutely right. He doesn't have to score goals all the time, but if he's going to be up there, lined up as a striker or a second striker, it has to be part of his game, and he has to be capable of it. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. We mentioned last week that his contributions aren't necessarily only with goals, because we do see him, you know, giving 100% off of the ball throughout the game, and I think that only to expect him to score goals is, I think, the wrong approach. I think just seeing his contributions off of the ball and knowing that he influences, you know, defenders on the opposing teams, and he pressures them. I think that's good for me, knowing that it's still his first season. We're still halfway through the season, and I mean, he's not scoring, but neither is anybody else. I mean, I think honestly, if I had to choose who to pressure the most right now, it would be Meneses over Sosa, because Meneses hasn't scored either, and he's the guy who's been here the longer, and he's the guy who's proven himself in the past, but nobody's really talking about him.
Well, it's because he has that track record already. That's what I'm talking about. No, I agree with you, Carlos. What Nico's doing is good enough for me too, but I'm thinking about the average fan, and I'm thinking about Nico trying to endear himself to a fan base that doesn't really know what he can do other than play video games. And all I'm saying is a goal or two on his account would go a long way to easing that pressure on him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying we should expect it from him all the time, but it would go a long way to easing the pressure on him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, my tally for him end of the season, and I will be happy with 3 goals for him.
Yeah, for a first full season, I think that's a good kind of goal.
No te preocupes, Jose. He'll probably score like in la final against Cruz Azul or something.
That'll be,
and then everything will be forgiven.
Before we go to individual performances, to wrap up this, because I mean, game, penalties, and then we'll do individual performances, but kind of what Carlos said, I think Meneses in the past 2-3 games hasn't been his best. I'm not, you know, I don't think I'm gonna crucify him for that, but I do think, you know, I mean, I'm not worried about him per se, but I do think we go back to the same thing we talked about just giving these players time, like Nico Sosa. Luis said, I mean, Meneses has definitely established himself already. I think the past 3 games, he's there, but not like there like we know he is. So he's kind of tends to struggle. So I'm hoping he definitely bounces back. But we will see if this lineup repeats, as we have a game Wednesday and Monday. So before heading to the roundup and then talking with Luis about Tigres, our next matchup, let's do individual performance reviews. And let's talk about Jairo Moreno. From a 1 to a 10, let's rate his performance versus Necaxa.
Man, I'm really bad with this ratings. Let's see.
9. I'm gonna say 9. Yeah, he's been a pretty beast out there. He's been maybe most improved player since last season, I would say, because he's 2 steps ahead of every defender. He's become a much better defender, all around defender, especially for it not being his natural position. He's performed at a higher level on the defensive end, and he's just, when he's on that left side, man, he just commands that whole left side completely against any team. So I would say 9.
The quickness that he has at that size, that size and length, but also the quickness that goes along with it. He'll do 2 or 3 times a game. He'll be backing down a defender a little bit, or trying to meg him a little bit, and he'll pass to himself. Basically, he'll pass in front of himself, and before the guy notices really what he's done, he's got such long strides. He's 2 meters in front of him already. Yeah. Ready to make an undisturbed cross. I think he's great. I agree, most improved. He's doing a lot more than we're used to, and in this one, he even he really se atreve a take 2 or 3 long shots, just out from outside the box, just trying his luck per game. And usually they sky over. But he got one down this time. He really got it down. He just unfortunately smacked it right at the goalkeeper. But he got one down. If he can get those down, we might see a few screamers.
Yeah.
From him this season. Yeah, I'll give him I'll say solid 8. But because he got that one screamer down instead of flying it over the bar like we're used to seeing, I'll give him an 8.5.
8.5. Okay. Jose or Javier, what do y'all think?
I'm gonna go with the same. I was gonna go with an 8, but that's too low, because I'm not gonna give it a 9, just because usually for me, when you get a 9 or above, it's usually because either you score or you gave an assist. You contribute somehow, like in the scoreboard. So I think I would probably go with 8.5. But yeah, he's been solid, like a lot more in defense than last season. So, and he seems like, I don't know, now he seems suelto in the field. Like it's not just, he seems more confident, which is always good for us. Sometimes when there's been tight games, he's actually the one that's been showing up in those games. But hopefully, like Luis says, like especially from free kicks, I feel like when Montes is not around and if Jairo is still around, I think he's gonna be our free kick taker. If he can just have those shots stay lower and on goal, like that's gonna be a lethal weapon. But I'm hoping in the future he can get them down. But yeah, he's just been great.
Yeah, I'm also give him a 9. I don't know what's wrong with my laptop. I can't hear Kari, but when you guys are talking, I'm like, oh, you guys are talking about Jairo, because he is the most improved. Because he is, ha ganado los más duelos. There was I think La Liga MX put out like who are the best in every single situation, and in duelos directos, he has los más ganados. So he's definitely improved a lot. He's always been my favorite player. I don't even know why. I just kind of pull for the guy. I really want him to do well with Leon. I want him to be campeón with Leon. I think Leo could probably sell him eventually to Europe, hopefully for a lot of money, which is why he's one of my favorites, because I do believe he has that potential. And I really do also believe that eventually we're going to see him score the tiro libre, because he has una, oh my God, like he le pega con, like I think we're very close to seeing him anotar the tiro libre, and I'm gonna give him in this game. I'm gonna give him a 9. But yeah, he's definitely a player that has. It's over for anybody that thinks they're gonna get that. That's it. And hopefully, who knows if he's gonna play with other teams in that position. But with Leon, he's forever. He's probably one of the best we ever had in the history of the team. I that's the one position that I always have problems thinking about historically, like who has commanded that, left back. Right now, Yaito is doing amazingly, on that side.
An adaptive back, wing back, whatever it's called now. But let's do 2 more. Let's do. Well, I'm gonna give him. I might go in the middle. 8.7. I feel like he has been solid. He has been consistent. It's just he's another goal scoring opportunity out there. So I think he just needs ice and kind of more logical sometimes. But I think he was solid. So I'm very glad that he has adapted well and he's improved so much. So applause to him. Next player, Gigliotti. So I'm going to give him a 8.5. I feel like his effort is there. He continues to push every single minute, regardless if he, didn't score this game, but I feel like his effort's there and you can tell his commitment to the team. And when he's given the opportunity to start, he pushes through. So I'm going to give an 8.5. What do you guys think about Emmanuel Gigliotti?
Oh, man. This one's kind of tough. Yeah, I'm going to go with an 8. Okay. Because you can tell that he's really playing. He's playing his butt off out there. He's not walking around. He calls for the ball, but he doesn't have many opportunities. I think because I don't know the stat. Maybe Jose can look it up for a future pod. But we're one of the lowest crossing teams in the league. Like we don't cross that much. So I don't know if his lack of chances is what keeps him from shining so much. But I mean I don't question his work ethic and his ability. I think he's doing well. But he's always going to be judged from his goals. So if he doesn't get those opportunities, people are going to think he's a tronco. So I'm going to go with an 8, just because I see him working hard.
Yeah, we talked last time.
Whoever said that.
No, we talked last time about how ways to differentiate him between him and Leo Ramos. Like, did we get a better player after the departure of Leo Ramos? And we said that both of them, in both cases, they might only get 1 or 2 chances a game. But Gigliotti is the kind of guy that's going to keep his head in the game in a way that he's going to, if he only gets one chance, he'll do something with. And he, if you think about this game, he didn't score, but he drew a PK at the end of a string of 40 passes, reminiscent of the semifinal against America, the Macias goal that came after 40, 50 something passes. It didn't seem like it at the time, but you watch the replay. That PK drawn was the end of a run of just great possession, 40 passes, slow build up, and Gigliotti was on the end of it, and he drew a PK that, for my money, had a really good chance to be a good shot on goal had he not been pulled down. So that was the chance that he got, and to his credit, he didn't get the goal himself, but he gave the team a chance to score at the end of a great string of passes. I mean, ideally, a guy like that's going to be the last guy at the end of a great string of passes, and to his credit, that's what he did. That's what he was. So I'll give him an 8.5.
Okay. Javier, Jose.
All right. I think I'm gonna go with an 8. He's he did work out there. It's just I'm just kind of it's kind of hard because like when you're a striker, you're expected to score. So for me, unless he gets a goal or anything, actually, you know what? No, he kind of did get half a goal because he because he got faulted, and that's why they got the penalties. Never mind. I'll go from an 8 to an 8.5. So I do think that he's been solid for us. It's just he still doesn't have that many chances, and our team is not really the way we play. We don't really like how Carlos was talking about. Like we don't really cross, and I brought this up. I don't remember like the stats exactly, but at least in the last 3 seasons, even under Embrace, we are somewhere around like 15 and last place when it comes to crosses. And in this season, I think we're somewhere around there too. So it's we're not a team that crosses. Like it's not that's not how we play. So that's why I think Gotti is struggling to make an impact. And basically like how we were talking about, like whatever chances he has, he's gonna have to take them. In this game, I think he only got, if I'm positive, he only got like one shot. That was it. And what I did notice though, and I don't think that's normal usually for strikers, both Gigliotti and this game and Nico Sosa, their passing accuracy was above 90. So Gigliotti actually had like 94.1%, which is,
It's really good.
that's unheard of for a striker. And Nico Sosa 95%. So that's a really, for me, that's a really huge positive from that game. Like even though they didn't score, for them to have that uh high of accuracy in passing, which usually for the striker, a center forward, that's like unheard of. Like normal would be like 60, 70, maybe like really high, and yet that's pushing it like 80, but
Mhm.
almost 100. That's, I don't know what to make of it. I just wanted to bring it up, but yeah, I think they're adapt like that tells me that they're adapting really well to the team. So it's just a matter of time until they get their scoring going. Well, so we just have to wait for now. But unfortunately, it just kind of gets scrutinized because like our scoring has been so low compared to like previous seasons. So that's why the focus is on scoring right now. If we were scoring, we probably wouldn't be talking about it. So, but I expect them to score in later games though. So hopefully.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an 8. I think 8.5, 8, exactly because of what everybody else said, because causó la falta and then the penalty. I think Gigliotti has been struggling since he got to Mexico. I think obviously in Argentina with Boca, Independiente, Colón, whatever, he scored a lot of goals. So his, I guess people thinking when he came to Toluca he was going to do the same. He scored only 9 goals with Toluca. He has 2 with León. I think maybe León es un equipo que juega, we all know, muy bien. As JJ Macías, I think he might be able to maybe do better, of course, than he did it with Toluca. But does he have potential? Yeah. Is he a good player? Yeah, he is. But I think, yeah, it's whatever he has. Se lo contagió Nico, and a lot of our forwards have it, and I don't know what's going on. But it doesn't really matter at this. Like, I mean, maybe later on. But yeah, I think when we used to be like the number one on everything, and being in first place, it feels good, to know that about your team. Right now, we just happen to be the team that doesn't get scored on and wins. And I think to me, that matters most, because it's going to be a different liguilla. It's going to be un partido, eliminación directa. And what this is proving to me is that we can win these games. We always used to struggle with two-legged games, and I think what I'm seeing so far is maybe it's boring, maybe it's just a 1-0, a 2-1, but they're winning, and that's kind of what at the end of the day, especially in La Liguilla, is kind of what I want to see. But yeah, for Gigliotti, 8.5.
Is the actual Liguilla going to be one-offs? Yeah. I thought the repechaje was going to be, but then after that would just be the regular two-legged sets.
Yes,
but I could be wrong.
It's going to be the repechaje first, and then
the repechaje round is a one-off, and then the Liguilla, when it's down to 8 teams only, then it's a normal Liguilla.
Are you sure?
That's my understanding.
Yeah, I don't know. My understanding was the other way around, but I could be wrong.
Well, I guess
that being said,
look at it. Yeah, we'll look into
it. But I agree. I agree with you about the way they're playing being better in Liguilla. We talked about this a few pods ago about how playing pretty has gotten us nowhere, and we're playing Liguilla style ball now. We're playing the kind of style you expect to see in a Liguilla. Or having to deal with that style because of all the teams are trying to close us down and encerrar and frustrar and all that kind of stuff. So we're being forced into that kind of style of play, which for me is in its own way encouraging, because we would get to a point in the Liguilla having played as pretty as we did, where we couldn't handle teams trying to do that to us anymore. Yeah. Like we get to the point where we couldn't handle it anymore, and we suffered. I'm thinking second leg against America, and of course the final. Like we couldn't do it. We were struggling so much, and now like building up this, I don't know, like this tolerance or immunity to that style of play, being forced into that kind of play, but still winning games. I think that is going to serve us really well in the Liguilla when all the games are like that anyway. I know you don't like it, Jose. I know you're the eternal pessimist, but I think that is an encouraging thing.
Yeah.
I personally think that is a very encouraging thing.
Well, and to be honest, I'm accepting of it now, and I'm seeing the positives, like which I'm gonna bring up later. But I don't know about you guys, but I this season is reminding me of a previous season. So it's like this is giving me bites of what is it? Clausura 2014. So I don't know what you think, but yeah, I think this might be just like that season that we didn't really.
Good, bro. We're gonna be campeones.
That's what I mean.
Look, here's the thing. I think of it like this is gonna be. Bear with me. This is gonna be a weird analogy maybe for you guys, but I think of the greatest actor. The greatest actor of our generation is Al Pacino. He has only one Oscar win. He was nominated 9 times, and he has only one Oscar win for Scent of a Woman. Scent of a Woman. Was that his best role?
No.
Was that his best role?
Denzel should have won for Malcolm X or Robert Downey Jr.
It was not his best role at all. I mean, we're talking Godfather, Godfather 2, Dog Day Afternoon, Serpico, Glenn Ross. All of those were way better. All of those were way greater roles. Yes. He won one for that was not so great, but it doesn't matter. We had lots of great tournaments, really nice looking tournaments that didn't result in anything. Yeah. So if this one's ugly, but it ends in a championship, that's perfectly fine. You know? That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
I agree with you, bro.
There you go. Mic drop.
Yeah,
he won an Oscar. Okay, not to get too much into this, but there was better options that year. I guess at this point, no one ever remembers who played the best tournament or the second place. They just remember the campeón. You know, maybe Atlas del 99 is an exception, but I think at the end of the day, we have to. And I'm gonna say, we're just playing a little bit more like Tigres now in a way. It's worked out for them. A better, Jose, aesthetically
Stop
better.
you there.
No.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
But we're winning.
Slow
It's
down,
just not
Javier, slow down.
spectacular the way you're used to it, because you want it to be 5-0
Okay,
every game, but it can't be like that because that's what they
No, but
expect.
but
So what
okay,
we
wait.
have to do
We're
is
not
just win
scoring, but
games.
not like that.
okay,
We're not
let's
being
There's no other way
reel it back
around it.
in.
It's just winning.
I
Even if
Let's reel
understand.
it
I
back in.
understand not wanting to be compared to Tigres. That's fine.
No.
I don't want to be compared to
Let's
them
re-
too.
I don't
Either.
either. I don't either.
Let's
Sorry for our next
let's reel it
guest
back
who's gonna come
in.
in, but
Yes, our next guest is waiting. Let's
is
wrap
he
it
gonna
up.
come in?
That was our individual team performances, followed by different analogies of our style of play, which that conversation went a totally different way. But basically, we're moving forward.
Why can't I hear you, Party? I don't get it.
That's not where I was going with that.
Okay.
Okay, so
All right.
let's
Sorry,
just
Luis, if
quickly
you're hearing.
do the.
Okay.
Yes,
Nothing
he is
against your
hearing.
team. I'm just saying.
Let's quickly do a rundown of the jornada. Club América versus Mazatlán. América won 3-1. Querétaro versus Toluca. Interesting game. Querétaro ended up winning 4-1. Pachuca versus San Luis. 3-1 Pachuca. Obviously, that was a yeah. And then León versus Necaxa, of course, we were talking about it. 2-0. Tijuana versus Monterrey. Monterrey lost versus Xolos. 2-1. Juárez versus Santos 1-1. Pumas ended up winning against Puebla 4-1. Atlas beating Cruz Azul 1-0, and Tigres losing 3-1 against Chivas, which that leads into our next segment. Our next guest, who has been waiting, and I'm going to apologize to him because he has been waiting on, but we're going to go ahead and talk about this Wednesday night match, 5 o'clock. I'm going to have to rush from work, but let's welcome Luis from Tigres English into the podcast.
What's up, guys? Good to see you guys. Carlos, Louis, Javier, Jose, Cari. Good to see you guys.
How you doing,
What's
man?
up? Welcome, man.
How you doing?
Doing well. Staying healthy so far.
Good. Now, you probably heard about our going off towards the end, but talk to me about, before we talk about your team and what it's looking like versus León, talk to me about what happened in your last match against Chivas. How did you feel, and what was the end result for you going into this game versus León?
How did I feel? Frustrated. It was a dumpster fire. It was really bad. I think I tweeted after the game that it's the beginning of the end, that it's pretty much the end of the dynasty, unless they do something really drastic. But you could just tell the players are not buying in anymore. They don't trust Tuca anymore, a lot of them. There's a lot of guys out of shape, a lot of guys getting injured because they're not in shape. So the wheels are just falling off the Tuca bus, man. So, I'm kind of disappointed and a little sad because we've had a really good run, but I'm not very optimistic about the future unless they do something drastic.
Well, I can't think of a better moment to play them then.
Right?
Yeah, we're definitely slumping.
Not trying to rub anything in, but we haven't beaten Tigres in 3 years. So in any game.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because
obviously
the opposite is also true. We really haven't beat you guys. If you look at the last 5 matches, I think we're 1 win, 3 draws, 1 loss. So it's been pretty much a stalemate.
They've all been very, very tight, close games. I mean, we got accustomed to playing those kind of games with them. But, I mean, I've been to all of them. So I remember some bad – there was one, I think there was a 4-0 or no, a 4-1 and a 2-0 in the Volcan that I just think we remember in the last. And then since that last time that we won against Tigres, since the last time that we won against Tigres, there have been a couple of bad losses. But for the most part, you're right. They've been very close games and a lot of draws.
Yeah.
So you guys, okay, so wrapping kind of going back a little bit back with Tigres, so lost against Chivas and 1-1 against Mazatlán, 1-1 against Pumas. They lost against Toluca. So you guys won against Puebla in jornada 4. I mean, that's kind of a troublesome. So I get your frustration of kind of like, oh, it just looks downhill. But talk to me about the incorporation of Leo and how you thought from the beginning and how he's been now? Like, if you can rate like an individual performance from the start to now, what would you rate him?
Everybody was super excited when we brought him over from Toluca, and everybody was thinking, man, this guy's gonna make us run. But Tuca did not give him any playing time early on, and probably rightly so because he was a bit overweight. He was a bit out of shape because of the whole, end of season, and he has come on lately, but Tuca's just not giving him enough minutes. He had a bad first half against Chivas, didn't look very well, but the whole team was off, and Tuca just pulled him. When normally you see Tuca giving guys 80 minutes, you'll see, Edu Vargas have a really bad game. He's not playing very well, and he still gets 80 minutes. And so I'm not entirely sure why Leo is not getting a good playing time. It doesn't make any sense to me. But at the rate we're going, the guy's going to end up slumping, and I don't think we're going to end up using him correctly within the squad. So he doesn't really have a spot.
And that's what we were.
Yeah, go ahead, Cuddy.
Go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he doesn't really
Well, I was gonna
play
say, that's
in the
what
center of the field or
the
anything,
fear.
and he doesn't play on the wing. So there isn't a spot for him. And Tuca's very dead set on playing Javier Aquino, who's in a terrible slump right now. And I don't know when he's gonna get a shot really to play.
And I guess that was the fear of, this exciting young player, Toluca has kind of been broken for a while now after a lot of their big stars left. And you kind of, there's the type of teams that you watch for a certain player. For example, Toluca was, Leo Fernandez.
Yeah.
And now with his departure, me and Tom did a podcast about Club Tigres and kind of the fear of like, will he be used? He's at a young age that he needs minutes, and knowing how Tuca thinks, and he has his star players that rarely get moved. How is he going to incorporate? Is he going to play? And I think you pretty much said it perfectly. Players like Edu Vargas played 80 minutes. Why can't you give Leo the same opportunity? And you don't want those type of players to just disappear and just end up on the bench, because that's just talent wasted. Well, it could be in another team.
Yeah, and he's getting frustrated. You could tell early on. I think he was okay with him being on the bench and not getting any playing time because he knew he was out of shape. I think he even said it himself in an interview. But as the season moved on, you could tell by his body language that he's getting very frustrated. In the Mazatlan game, it was like pouring down rain, and he's sitting there standing on the sideline, and he kept looking over at Tuca to see if Tuca would let him play. And the team wasn't playing very well. And it was a good opportunity for him to get subbed in, and just he never got a shot. And you could tell he was kind of talking to one of his teammates. I think it was Diente Lopez, and he was saying kind of like, you could tell he was telling him like, I don't know why I can't get in. And so I think the frustration with him is mounting to the point where it might end up, he might end up having an issue with Tuca, which that'll probably make him not get any playing time. So we'll see how that goes.
Definitely. So before we get into stats, kind of how Tigres is at this point and looking forward to the rest of the season, where do you see your team ending on the table? Or where are you hopeful that they'll end at?
I think we'll end right where we're at right now, probably 11, 12, 10. I don't see us climbing. I was telling everybody the other day, it's not going to be like other seasons where we start out really slow on purpose because Tuca doesn't want us flying early on and then run out of juice towards the end of the season. There isn't going to be a switch this season for us to flip. There's too many guys out of shape. There's too many guys that are banged up. And I just don't see us turning it on in the last 5 jornadas where we're going to, get 15 points out of 15 and finish in the top 3. It's not going to happen this season. We're not creating enough scoring chances. The numbers just show that we're not going to be able to do it. So I'm not very optimistic as far as moving up the standings. I think if we end anywhere between 10 and 12, I think we'll be where we are, because that's really the team we're at. Right now we're not really a top 10 team.
Gotcha. I mean, after Leon, you guys have Santos, Querétaro, which that could be an interesting one just because I think Querétaro has been the secret low-key dark horse. I'm still not totally convinced. But then after you guys have the clash of the Clásicos, so interesting definitely matches after playing us on Wednesday. So
And we definitely
we will
played
see. But yeah,
the soft end of the stand of the field early on. So the first 7 games was really the games we should have been winning because we end on a tougher schedule. And so that's another reason why I don't think we're going to be able to just flip the switch.
Hmm.
Do you think they would
So
seriously
you
consider
guys-
parting ways with Tuca if Tigres misses the Liguilla altogether, falls out of the 12?
There's definitely been talks. Ingeniero Rodriguez went on the radio earlier in the week and said that basically if Tuca doesn't evolve, they might fire him. I honestly don't think they will because his contract ends next summer. So more than likely they'll just part ways next summer, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah,
But
inconceivable. See, inconceivable to me that they would. But I'm wondering, like, what do you guys think? I don't think I can't imagine they would do it in the middle of a season.
no, I don't think
It's
so either.
giving way too much to the organization, But in a coaching carousel, there's no coaching carousel more unstable than the Liga MX. I mean, nobody gets a chance to put anything together, any kind of proyecto. I mean, Tuca, and I guess you could say that Ambriz with Leon now are two of the few that have been there with their team clubs long enough to put together a project. It'd be inconceivable, but there's a limit. There's a limit. Yeah.
And this is all entertainment. I mean, ultimately, if the fans are not happy with the product on the field, week in and week out, front office has to make a move because you watch Tigres games on Saturday night, they're not very entertaining, man. I mean, sometimes you're just like, whoa, like I'd rather be watching like Columbo reruns or something. It's just it's that bad sometimes, and I'm just telling myself like, why would somebody watch this product when there's better stuff to watch on TV? We've got endless entertainment, and so they think about this stuff. They know that with the squad Tigres has, they should be playing better than what they're doing now. And a lot of times that possession game is really just right around midfield. There's nothing happening in the final third. And so, a lot of fans have just been unhappy for a long time now because it's just not very fun to watch.
Yeah, one of the players I saw really unhappy on Saturday night was Gignac.
Yeah.
He you could tell after the 2-0, he I don't know if he just said, you know what, I'm gonna put this team on my back and I'm gonna do whatever I can, because he was playing his butt off towards the end. He almost got in a fight with one of the Chivas defenders too.
Yeah.
I think just because of that frustration. But yeah, I mean that guy's a beast. I saw somebody on Twitter say if he was playing with Leon would be champion because we need a goal scorer and he needs that build up, right?
I feel terrible for him because he's been the one guy that during this whole COVID thing, when there was no practice, there was nothing going on, he was the one dude that was working his butt off in the gym. And you go look through his Instagram, every day he's just out there working out like a beast, man. And he's getting older, but his physique is just, dude, he's working. And this week, I can't remember who put it out, if it was Zancadilla Norte or one of those Twitter pages. They had a video of Gignac working out like crazy, and then a video of Javier Aquino at a Top Golf, taking some swings, man. And it's like, dude, after an ugly loss, what are you doing at Top Golf and taking video of yourself, just hitting some balls when you're not a golfer, And so, you can just imagine Gignac looking at that and saying, damn, these guys they're not pitching in. And you look at our goals, dude. I mean, it's all Gignac. Who else is scoring? And so, he's definitely frustrated for sure.
That must be infuriating for you guys to see that.
Man, there's several guys. Like, I mean, Julian Quiñones, the guy's totally out of shape. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. Word on the street is that he's out drinking and whatever, but it's frustrating. And that all goes to the coach. I mean, if the coach knows this is going on, you got to do something. You can't let these guys slack.
Yeah.
That's surprising that this kind of stuff is happening under Tuca, because Tuca is a harsh coach, like, to be under. So I don't know.
I feel like maybe
Yeah,
Ambriz has them more on check than Tuca does.
I've been trying to figure out if it's like old age that's maybe just mellowing him out and he's getting softer, or what's going on. But there's definitely guys that are slacking, and they're gonna need, if they decide to keep Tuca, they're gonna need to clean house as far as players. There's at least 4 or 5 guys that are just not. They don't deserve to be playing on our squad. And honestly, I don't know if they deserve to be playing in Primera División, because they're just not. They're not professionals, and so that's also very important.
Yes, definitely. We will see what happens Wednesday night, and for that, we're going to talk about some statistics that Jose has. Jose, are you ready so I can cue your clip? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let's cue his clip.
Since we're talking about Tigres, let's do that one for Tigres.
Let's do that. The record versus Tigres?
So that's in the last 9 matches. So we only have 1 win, 5 draws, and 3 losses. 7 goals in favor, 12 against. The goal differential -5. There's a couple of guys from our side. Most of them are probably gone now. The only one remaining from our side, and I think that one might be wrong. I just didn't have time to fix it, but I believe Montes has only 1 goal too. So from these guys on our side, it's just Montes has 1 goal, Jairo 1, and Mosquera 1. Those are the guys that are still with us. Boselli was our top scorer, but he's long gone. From Tigres side is Guignac with 4 goals. Javier Aquino with 2. Eduardo Vargas with 2. And Carioca with 1. And Ener Valencia, Sosa, and Salarayan, they're gone. And they each had 1. That's our record versus Tigres. So it's a tough match for us. Okay.
Hello?
I think Kari's muted.
Oh.
Yeah, you're muted, Kari.
Sorry, I didn't know I was muted.
I was like,
wait.
wait. I was like, wait, why is everyone so quiet?
I thought my connection went out.
Sorry, which one do you need next?
I mean, I can do the. Is it okay if they're not related to Tigres?
Yeah.
All right, then. All right. So let's do. So like how Javier was talking about, and I don't think you have time to put this one up because he was like the líderes de la semana, jornada 8. I sent that one like while we were on the pod.
And I do have it. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so Javier, I believe he talked. Oh, it's not this one, but anyway, it proves my point either way. So, like I was talking about, Montes for the second consecutive week, he had the most pases acertados and on the rivals pitch with 43. I think last week was 50, so just down 7, but still the top. And then this week too, Pedro Aquino was the player that had the most interceptions on his own field with 6. So that kind of shows like how well the partnership between Luis Montes and Pedro Aquino is going right now. There's another one from Liga MX, and that was the líderes de la jornada.
This one?
Let me see. Well, let's go with that one. So, like, this is the one that Javier was talking about. So Jairo it's in second place with successful one-on-one challenges, attacking one-on-one challenges, and he has 6, just 5 below. What's his name again?
Fabian Castillo.
Yeah. So that kind of shows how much is improved in comparison to last season. And then there's the other one.
The top cinco?
Yeah. That one. So as I think just like last week, I think it was 4 players from Leon that were on the top 5. This week, oh no, it was still 3. Said they were on the top 3. So we still have 3 players up there, and Pedro Aquino tops the list with 83 passes completed, and then Luis Montes again with 79, and Jairo again and on 4th place with 64. And that performance for Mena also had him be on the ideal 11 for this week 8, and Cota was in there too as well. I think this was the first appearance Mena did, I think, this season, and for Mena, I think, if I'm correct, I think it's the second. Sorry, for Cota. Now, moving on to team.
You want to do goal scorers?
Yeah, let's the one for Excel.
Yes, I have
Yes.
that one. Okay.
Yeah, go with that one. So this is the top 6. I meant to do the top 5, but either way. So Mena was surpassed Elias Hernandez as the top scorer for Leon since we got promoted. So now he has 35 goals overall. Versus Necaxa, he scored his 30th league goal. And yeah, I mean he's been great for us, even though he's been on a goal scoring drought this season. And let's see. Now the one that Carlos was, I didn't have time to go over it until like 2012 when it go all the way down. But so now for 6 pieces, I think it's the one Carlos wanted. So this is how.
Wait, did we lose Jose?
Jose,
Yeah.
no.
Jose, are you there?
Yes. You hear me?
Yes, now.
Okay. Good. Okay, so in 8 matches, we have no set pieces this season. Last season, in 10 matches, we only have 1 set piece, no headers. And we were the most successful in set pieces in the Apertura 19 and the Clausura 19. Apertura 19, we had 6 pieces, no headers in 17 matches. Clausura 19, 6 set pieces, 1 header in 18 matches. And then Apertura 18 when Ambris first came in as in the middle of the season. In 8 games, he didn't have any set pieces at all. So this is I think this might be a clue to why we've been struggling to score. So maybe if we work a little bit more on set pieces, we might be able to figure out some things that que se cierran atrás. Another one, I believe, which
The Guardian 20
Yeah.
versus.
yes. So this is how we have done now in 8 matches compared to last season. Last season we scored 16 goals. This season we have 8. Last season we conceded 12. This season we have conceded 4. Last season we only had 1 shutout. This season we have 5. 10 assists from last season, still 6 assists from the season. We actually have, even though we have scored less goals in the last season, we actually have 2 points more than last season at this time. Last season we were on third and with 15 points, and now we're in 17th in first place. The scorers are Gigliotti with 2, Mena with 2, Montes 1, Jairo 1, Navarro 1. Mena season it's still the same as last week. It didn't change because we lost the next match. So everything else is the same. So one thing that I wanted to point out from this that is not here, from the clausura, was it? Yeah, from the clausura 2019 in 8 matches, our record right now is actually better than the clausura 19. Like back then, defensively, we actually conceded 6 goals. So right now, it's actually even better than the clausura 2019 when we have the historic run of 12 wins. So that's kind of a really huge positive sign for me. And that's it for me, guys.
Thank you, Jose, for those stats. Definitely interesting to see how we kind of are looking better than past at the current 8 matches right now. Let's move on with Javier. Javier, are you ready for your segment?
Someone tell Javier.
Okay.
I'm ready. Go,
Let's hear this
go.
clip.
I got this. Okay. So today on Once Upon a Time in Leon history, I will not be going back that far. I think I'm just gonna go back 8 years because I don't know. I don't want to go back that far, but I'm going back 8 years. The year was 2012. Remember back when everybody thought the world was gonna end? If only they knew what would happen 8 years later. No, it was la jornada 13 of the Apertura 2012, and it was pretty much Leon's first season. It was actually their first season back in Primera División after 10 years. So it would be also the first time Tigres and Leon faced off in a very, very long time. I don't know if Kari has the video, but so you guys can see what game I'm talking about. There you go. It was, ouch, that doesn't look that well, the graphics. But anyway, what a wonderful jugada de Sebastián Mas. There you go, Britos, cabeceando. I think I've only seen him do that kind of palomita. But anyway, yeah, it was back in 2012 when Sebastián Mas would end up being Leon's top goal scorer that year with 8 goals. And yeah, also I think it was one of Tigres' worst tournaments as well. It kind of reminds me of this tournament. They were actually in 12th place. I don't think they qualified that year to La Liguilla. Pero this was like Leon's first adventure back in Primera División. They played spectacular. Penal, I don't know about that one, but still, it doesn't matter. Lo cobraron, and there you go, Sebastián Mas. Like I said, will end up being el máximo goleador de nuestro León en ese Apertura 2012. And yeah, León would end up, being placed in third place in that season, calificando a Copa Libertadores. There you go. Look at Matosas happy. And again, esta jugada hermosa de Sebastián Mas, and qué definición de Britos. But yeah, I just wanted to go back 8 years ago when León and Tigres faced off for the first time in a very long time. And yeah, golazo de Britos Mas. How much do I wish that dupla was still with León? I loved it, even though it didn't get us anywhere. As we all know, we lost to Tijuana that season. Pero que León that came back to first division. I don't know. I think Matosas León revolucionó un poco el fútbol. And then, of course, then Tigres came and did what they did. And I've said it before, I'm not a hater. They were el equipo de la década. And now I just want León to be el equipo de esta década. So by that happening, I want for León to win this Wednesday 2-0, just like we won 8 years ago. Almost to the same, like.
Oh
no. We were so close.
Okay, and that was Javier's Once Upon a Time. Louis, let's go with you before we talk about predictions and lineups. Are you ready?
Ready.
Hit it.
So some people know this. Before I moved down to the Bajío, I spent almost 2 years living in Monterrey. I paid no attention to the Liga MX at that time. But I worked for the symphony orchestra of the Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León, and I had a lot of friends who were fans of Tigres, big time fans of Tigres. And one of my former colleagues in that orchestra is the guy who generally gets me an abono so that I can go into the stadium when I'm there, because it can be very difficult to get tickets. One of the most difficult places to get tickets in the Liga. Not so much anymore that the fans can resell their tickets on the app, but back in the day, it was really, really hard to get tickets. And so this my former colleague of mine gets me in. And now that I live in Guanajuato, but it's an excuse when I go see León play in Monterrey, whether it be against Tigres or Rayados, I get to hang out with old friends and have a great time, eat arrachera, and all that good stuff. And so I've made 7 trips in the last 4 years to the Volcán to see León play Tigres, and there have been some really high-profile matches. First one I ever went to was the Apertura 2016 semifinal Vuelta, which was the culmination of Javier Torrente's miracle season, where he took us from the cellar, winning all those games, took us to the cellar all the way to the semifinal against Los Poderosos Tigres, who would, of course, be champions that season. And it was a rainy, nasty night, but that was my first experience in the Volcán, and in a sea of yellow. I'm used to seeing visiting fans most everywhere I go, except at the Volcán. There are hardly any, and the visiting fan section is tiny and often doesn't have anyone in it. Now, there's a few diehards for León always, but that's a place that's not very friendly towards visiting fans. They don't like them there. But I've been to a lot of great matches there. And that semifinal, where if VAR had existed back then, they probably would have called Navarro's goal good, which might have changed everything. Or not Navarro's goal, but Navarro's assist that was called over the line when VAR showed that it probably actually wasn't, which could have changed us and possibly taken us to the final. It didn't, of course, but there have been a lot of other great matches since then. Of course, the final in Clausura 2019, which was not a great game, but it was just exciting to be there for a final. That was the first time I'd been to a Liga MX final. And that was an incredible night. But my favorite game, probably of all of them, was the 1-0. We played with no delanteros. Elias Hernandez gave León the win. 1-0. This was Clausura 2017. It was a bad season. But we got the win in the Volcán for the first time in 30-something years. I don't remember how long it had been since León had won at the Volcán. It had been a very, very, very long time. Of course, there were some descensos in there, so they didn't play each other for a long time. But that was the first time León had won. I don't think I've screamed louder for any goal ever in my life. It came something like the 67th minute. And I just remember standing up and screaming really loudly amid a sea of yellow that were looking at me like, what's up with this dude? And I was wearing that ugly, we had that ugly green jersey at that time. It was like a lighter shade of green. So I really, really stood out. And people were like, what's this? what's this gringo doing, yelling, screaming for Leon in the Volcan? But yeah, that was probably my favorite of all of them. Elias Hernandez, we had no delanteros that day. Elias Hernandez on a counterattack, 1-0. Leon wins 1-0 for the first time in 30-something years at the Volcan. So even in the middle of a terrible season, I witnessed a historic moment, and I'll never forget that. Yeah, lots of good trips to the Volcan. Hopefully make another one soon.
Awesome. That memory impresses me every time. He can tell, like, oh yeah, it was this minute and this and that. It's insane. But thank you for your travels regarding Tigres. We lost Javier. Maybe we'll pick him back up soon. He's having technical difficulties. Let's go with predictions. Luis, do you have a prediction of what your team's going to look like versus Leon?
I never pick against my team, so so I'm gonna go 1-1 Tigres. But it'll be some interesting matchups in the game. I always like watching the two center mids going at each other. So the matchup between Pizarro and Luis Montes, that battle is going to be pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see who Tigres plays at left back because one of our center mids, Carioca's out, and so we'll see what kind of shuffling Tuca does there. But that side, the left back has been a weakness at Tigres, so we'll see if maybe Mena or somebody exploits that or not. But I'm gonna go 1-1 Tigres.
1-1. Okay, interesting. Jose, your prediction.
I think I'm gonna stick with what I've been saying because we still haven't had scored 3 goals, so I'm gonna stick with 2-1. Probably I'm hoping Mena and Gigel score.
Let's go with Louis. Your prediction.
Yeah, I've been predicting this breakout performance that just hasn't really happened. Maybe isn't going to happen. But I think first of all, it's a doble jornada. But having played from Friday all the way to Wednesday, I think that's a long enough layoff that we can pretty much expect to see almost a first choice 11. The absence of Carioca and also the weakness on the left, I really think that Mena and Navarro are going to take advantage of that. And also we're just playing a Tigres team that's kind of down and beaten and lacking confidence, lacking fitness, and lacking trust in their manager. I think it's a really, really good time to play them. We're also playing at home. So I'm going to go with a 3-1. 3-1. I think Mena's going to get one. I think maybe Gigliotti will get one. I don't know who else, and I just know that Gignac is going to sneak one in, even if the game's already lost. I mean, I know he's going to sneak one in at the end. He you know, as Jose so aptly pointed out, he always scores. I mean, he always scores against everyone, but he always scores against us. So he's going to get his goal, whether or not it affects the result. But yeah, I'm going to say 3-1. 3-1.
Okay, 3-1. Louis.
Carlos.
Carlos.
We're doing prediction time?
Yes. We are.
Yes.
We are.
I didn't do my jingle. Well,
you missed your chance to do the jingle.
And I can hear Kari. I can hear you, Kari. Oh my God, it feels so good. All right, sorry guys.
Okay.
It was the most confusing thing in the whole planet. Like listening to like everyone, but not one person, and she's organizing everything. So I'm like, huh? When is it my turn? Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead, Carlos.
No worries. So this past match, I think it was Javier and I, or Jose and I, that got the prediction correct. I said we would beat Necaxa 2-0, and that happened. And I'm going to stick with that result against Tigres.
What did I say?
You said 2-0. I said 2-1.
Yeah,
I said 2-1.
So it was Javier and who else?
Myself.
Carlos?
And Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos.
Yeah, we said 2-0, so we got it right.
Yeah.
High five. Yeah. So I'm gonna stick with that prediction against Tigres. I don't think Gignac is gonna score on us. I hope he doesn't. Just because we have the best defense in the league, and I think we're gonna shut him out. Yeah, I mean, best defense in the league. We're gonna keep that clean sheet. Who scores? I'm gonna go with Mena and Meneses. Let's hope that he breaks out. against Tigres.
Interesting. Javier, Chito.
Okay. So I agree with Carlos in that I want Leon to continue having the best defense in La Liga. So I want it to be another clean sheet and another clean sheet for Sosa. But I do think Gignac is going to have an opportunity. I think he's going to get a penalty, and I think Cota's going to save it. And I think it's going to be at the end of 2-0 like Carlos. And I would want Meneses and Sosa to score because, like I said, I think those two, along with Campbell maybe, are the three players that I want to have a little bit more confidence because I feel that's what they're missing. And I think Mena just got that. So I hope it's 2-0. I don't see them scoring more than 2. And I can see Gignac scoring against Leon. He's done it so many times, but I think it's going to be like, I don't know, like minuto 90, Gignac, and then Cota saves it, and then the story will be again Leon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be un gol de la honra. It's going to be de la honra, but he's going to score. Mark my words, he's going to score.
If Cota.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm going to go with that, 2-0. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Luis. Don't get mad at me, bro. It's just
It's just predictions, man. It's just predictions. We'll be fine.
Right? I know.
Exactly.
You never know. Querétaro could beat America and could lose to Atlas, I think. I don't know who they lost.
Well, you definitely don't want to beat Toluca. They just conceded 8 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, that's harsh. That's harsh. And then, I mean,
third for a minute or second.
After Necaxa's loss, Sosa got sacked. So now they have Profe Cruz, which is we go back to the same cycling in the middle of there's no long-term project, which is unfortunate because Necaxa is a really respectable team. But I'm going to go
buy and sell too much. They buy and sell too much to have a real project. That's their problem.
By the way, Corey, you said something that made me think. Jose, you got to look this up. How many times has Leon beat a team, causing them to sack their manager? I know it happened with Ambriz and America, but I feel like it's happened many times.
All right.
I really do. I think Matosas, or I don't even know, like with Atlas too, Leon Atlas.
Yeah, that was. You're right. You're right, Javier. That was in the same Miracle Torrente tournament. I remember that. I was at that game. Yeah.
We'll get Jose to look it up. That way he can give it to us.
But
that'll be my homework for next week.
That'll be his homework for next week.
But this is not a hot take. Even if we beat Tigres 5-0, Tuca will not be fired after the match. That's yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say that. Right?
It's a Bayern Barcelona situation, huh? That happens. You never know.
8-2.
Yeah.
No, I doubt. I mean, Tigres is not the type of team that fires midway. No, or there's teams that they won't fire their coach midway.
It's gonna be a close game.
One of them.
It's gonna be a very close. I can see it being like 1-0 till like the 90th minute, and then either 2-0 or 1-1 because of freaking Gignac. But I do see it being close. I don't care if Tigres does have a really bad tournament. That's just Leon this season. We thought it was gonna be against Atlas like a larger margin of goals, and it wasn't. And I think that's just going to be Leon's throughout the whole tournament's constant situation. But yeah, I think. By the way, Kari, what was your prediction?
I was going to say it. I think it's going to be 2-1. I'm not going to be ambitious because, again, even though Tigres has been struggling, I think against Leon it's always a good matchup. It's very intense. So I do see Gignac scoring. I mean, that's the reality. But how? I don't know. But I'm very hopeful. I mean, we need this win midweek. I know we'll have Querétaro in the weekend, but I think this matchup, especially midweek, coming back, I mean, there is a good gap, but it's against Tigres. So I'm going with the 2-1. I'm hopeful. So I think that will be it for today.
It's a good gap, but then it's also a good gap before the next game. So Friday to Wednesday, and then all the way until Monday. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they will treat. We won't treat this in terms of rotations and things like that necessarily as much as a traditional doble jornada. That's what I meant by that. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. So we will see. Definitely next 2 games very important. Kind of, we're líderes right now, but that can change, and I guess we'll see how the other teams are coming up. So This will conclude episode 44, an angel appearance in regards to Angel Mena and his goals against Necaxa. Sosa got sacked for Necaxa, so they'll have a new coach. But hey, Leon keeps moving forward. Midweek game versus Tigres, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. 5 o'clock Central. Definitely an interesting early game. We have games all week, so make sure to catch the games. And we will be back this week to recap that game, as it is a doble jornada, and then preview the next game. So don't forget to follow us on all social medias. We do live tweet. Follow Club Leon EN for all the content during the game. He live tweets all the time and has the goals, has videos for the goals in case you missed it. And follow us to keep you updated on what's going on. We are going to be hopeful. And Luis, we're going to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Sorry for the delay, but I hope you enjoyed and had fun talking about Tigres with us in regards to what the match looks like on Wednesday.
It's good to be on with you guys.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we'll have you sometime. I mean, who knows? Maybe your team will make it versus what you say. We'll have you back for sure. Yeah,
top 12 at least, I think. For sure.
Good thing about this liguilla is that everybody qualifies. So
yeah,
it's harder to not make it.
Puebla's gonna qualify. Watch Puebla. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Santos or Atlas is not going to qualify. No, they're not going to make it.
No.
By the way, Javier, just to confirm, I checked, and the liguilla after the repechaje, the liguilla are two-legged sets.
They're two-legged. Yeah. Okay.
Only the repechaje are one-offs.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's kind of what I was like. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing for Leon? As we know with Nacho Ambriz, it's always those two-legged games. For whatever reason, confían en el primero and the second one.
I don't know, guys. I feel like this season is gonna be the season.
Good vibes.
And this is coming from Jose, who's usually the pessimist. So he says that we're gonna be the champions. I gotta go with Jose.
Okay. I don't know. Vibes. So we will let you guys go and join us for the next episode 45, which don't know the title yet until what happens Wednesday. Thank you so much, and hope you enjoyed this episode of Monday Night Football. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next episode of the Lions Den Podcast.